Yeah, we got a lot to get to, so we'll jump right in and we begin with Derry area. And although the Trojans came up short on the road at Southmoreland, their effort never wavered, as demonstrated by Max Doherty and his determined run in the third quarter to give Derry its second touchdown, as called by John Flickinger and Bob Lesinski.
Fourth and goal from the 5. Sacco is going to give to Doherty. He scoots his way toward the end zone. He drives his way and he scores. Extra effort by Max. And he did it all. When he got to the 2, he kept the legs churning, reached it across the goal line, and the Trojans make it 28-13 at the 5:46 mark.
Yeah, that was a good second, third effort there by Max. He was just bound and determined to get that ball in the end zone, and he should have been stopped right after he got the ball there. You can see right up in the middle there, but he just kept those legs going and reached over and crossed the goal line.
That's what the weight room's all about right there.
We mentioned earlier in the show, Sean, about some injuries. Max Doherty also wasn't fully healthy. But when he was back there, he gave Darius something a little bit different from the backfield. And that touchdown actually kept them in the game. It was 28-14, a little bit past the midway point of the third quarter. So the game was still kind of up for grabs at that point. Great fourth down run by him. Very determined, gets into the end zone. And oh, by the way, plays of the week, I love how you're leaving the best for last. Very nice. Well played, Mr. Myers.
Yes, and by the way, that was definitely a weight room touchdown that your brother astutely pointed out. Well, we'll stay in that same game and now look at the Southmoreland side of things, as the Scotties, they've been explosive in the passing game all season, and that continued against the Trojans, as Anthony Smith hit a short pass to Elliot Primus, and he did the rest, giving Southmoreland a second quarter lead, as detailed once again by John and Uncle Bob.
See what happens on this third down play. Here's a flanker screen, going to be caught. Can the Trojans make the tackle? No, they cannot. And running is Primus to the corner and into the end zone for the touchdown. Boy, there were a couple of Trojans who had a chance to make the tackle, but Elliot Primus picks up his second touchdown of the night, 13th of the season from Smith. And it's 13-7 Scotties. And Coach Arone talked about you got to be able to tackle in space tonight. They didn't do it there.
Yeah, you had a couple Trojans right there that should have made the tackle, and he ran through it. You got to credit Primus.
Well, if Elliot Primus wasn't a household name coming into the year, I think he is now, especially with the way that Anthony Smith is throwing the ball, but also Elliot's putting up big numbers every single week. He was nominated for a Player of the Week a couple weeks ago, and right there, man, able to escape some tackles. Kind of a tough kid to bring down, and he is so vital to that passing game in Southmoreland.
We continue plays of the week with Kiski area, and it was a record-setting night for Cavaliers quarterback Carson Heinley, who we'll hear from in just a little bit. He continued to rack up the yards and the touchdowns against Franklin Regional. His second quarter connection with Andrew Finney gave KA a 2-score lead, with Jonathan Whaley captioning the video.
From the near hash mark, twins to the right side, twins to the short side, sidecar to the right. Heinley looking, swings it out, and a nice one-handed catch out there by Shirley, and Shirley's going to take it in. 15-yard touchdown catch. Shirley with the quick sidearm throw by the left-handed quarterback, Carson Heinley.
Now we should note, despite what Jonathan said, that was Andrew Finney on the touchdown, so
yes.
Credit where it's due. Avon Shirley has plenty of his own success this season, but that was Finney.
Well, it's easy to make that mistake because Shirley's been so great this year, so we'll give JW the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. Well, he redeems himself in this next play because we now look at the Franklin Regional side of things, and facing a 3-score deficit in the first half, the Panthers needed a big play, and the combination of Chase Lemke and Elijah Bennett provided that. Their long connection started to come back for FR, with Jonathan providing the commentary.
And Lemke drops back. Lemke fires the ball down the field. Ball's up in the air, and it's caught at the 40, to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. That's that chunk play. Elijah Bennett with his 4th touchdown of the year. An 80-yard catch and run by him.
I think that play and then that 80-yard rip by Kyle Dupil we talked about earlier, which set up a touchdown. two biggest plays of the game for Franklin Regional, but that 80-yard touchdown pass, again, I think Chase Lemke maybe goes underappreciated, not by Franklin Regional, but, when talking about the best players in the WPIAL in Westmoreland County, but he just keeps getting better and better, I think, every game, and even when the running game's not there, he's able to make some big completions. And as you mentioned earlier, Sean, Franklin Regional doesn't get that big play. Maybe Kiski wins.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he was throwing to a wide open Bennett there. I mean, he had to put the pass on the mark, and then Bennett had to make a nice catch in traffic, and then obviously he showed his speed on the back end. Well, talking about speed, we continue plays of the week with Penn Trafford and Tasso Whipple, who had another stellar night for the Warriors. He won Homecoming King prior to the start of the game, and then he gashed Plum for 3 scores. His third quarter touchdown put an exclamation point on his effort, with myself and Mark Katarski highlighting that action.
Remember him fondly as a young man.
There's a little bit of a jump by Whipple, and now he has room in front of him. And Tasso trying to run away from everyone, and he will score. And he finishes it with the hurdle into the end zone from 68 yards.
You'd want to say maybe a little fatigue there on the defense, just not able to wrap up and secure the tackle the way they would want. And the King has a trifecta now. 3 touchdowns for the Homecoming King. Tasso Whipple putting on a show here tonight.
Sean, why do you think he hurdled the goal line there? Was he trying to bait the officials and throwing a flag like they did a couple of weeks ago?
It wasn't a penalty that time, I guess. Yeah, for those who don't know, he got a penalty for a hurdle against a player a few weeks ago. It still made plays a week because it was that awesome. So, yeah, congrats to Tasso. And I don't know if you saw this, by the way. We're very familiar with his date, who is the homecoming queen, Reese Solomon.
Yes.
Who is an incredible goalkeeper for the girls' soccer team.
She's been awesome this year, man.
Yeah, good stuff at Penn Trafford. We continue plays of the week with York, and prior to the Vikings' last-minute score, it was the Cougars who engineered a late touchdown drive of their own, as Raiden Kuroda hooked up with Jaden Dixon Brentzel to give York the lead, as called by Dave Franzak and John Bainbridge.
Wipe his hands on his towel. And now we'll look to throw. Throws a bubble screen, and it's going to be a touchdown for Dixon Brentzel.
That was a beautiful pass. Great touch over the Mount Pleasant defender. Laid it right in there. Emptied the backfield out with the halfback swinging to the right. Beautiful ball.
Big time pass play there. And Sean, did you happen to see the celebration by the offensive line? I think it was 64 if you have York's
Bryce
roster.
Harvey, my friend.
Bryce Harvey. What was he? Was that a somersault or what? What was he trying to do?
He was happy, I suppose, my friend. I don't know.
I guess.
Probably can't pull off a backflip. That's hard for anyone, especially an offensive lineman. So he had to go something a little more simplistic and routine. Yeah, hopefully he's doing a lot more somersaults like that the rest of this conference season.
All right, well, next time they score a big touchdown, I want to see a backflip, Bryce. Let's go.
All right, well, speaking of backflips, this was even more spectacular than a backflip.
Here we go, baby.
We wrap up plays of the week. You know what this one's going to be. It's Mount Pleasant and the night that ultimately belonged to the Vikings, and in particular, Jared Garn. His spectacular touchdown catch in the second quarter not only was crucial for the win, it also drew some national attention, with Dave and John providing the backdrop.
Let's see the play. Let's see the SportsCenter Top 10, and you got Moss.
Shotgun formation for the Vikings. Chaffield's going to roll near side here. Picks up a block. Throws downfield. It's going to be short. It's going to be a jump. Oh, guard comes down with it. Touchdown, Mount Pleasant.
That's just an athletic play by guard. He was triple covered and just went up and got it. Just went up and got it. That's what they call that on ESPN. You've been mossed.
You've been mossed. You took the words out of my mouth, John. What a heck of a play by the senior wide receiver to go up and catch that ball for the score.
Come on. He's not talking about us. Mount Pleasant's Colt Chatfield. This is high school football, throwing it deep downfield to Jarrett Garn. Quadruple coverage? And he wasn't done. Okay, actually triple coverage. Had some defenders just watching.
One guy was on the ground.
They had They had a front row seat. You saw that on Westmoreland Sports Network.
Let's go high school ranks, Pennsylvania football right here. Mount Pleasant versus York. York, you're going to look at this one. York, you got 3 defenders over there. How the heck you not make a play? But Jared Garn makes a play. Garn makes an unbelievable catch. Are you kidding me?
Over 3 guys.
Look at that. Look at one more look at it.
Rolls to his left.
Out there. 3 guys, defense corner is like, man, what a great call. You got Mosley, the York.
So the crazy part about this, Sean, first of all, congratulations to Jarrett Garn, because not only did he go national, he allowed us to go national as well. So that was awesome. I was messaging with Jarrett on Twitter, actually, on Friday night about this, letting him know, like, hey, let's try to get this on SportsCenter. Make sure you ask people to retweet. But I didn't even know about the play. I happened to be talking with our producer, Matt Palumbo, that night, just about some things, how the game went, how the broadcast went. And he's like, you have to check out this play. And, that was about it. And then I kind of forgot about it because, Friday night, you're trying to do a bunch of different things, archive the broadcast, make sure that everything's up on the website and everything. And he texts me again, and he's like, this is where you can find the play. This is the timestamp. Go check it out. And I looked at it, and I was like, oh, my God, we could get this on You Got Mossed. I didn't even think about SportsCenter Top 10, but when I was tweeting it out, I thought, we'll put SC Top 10 on it. I sent a private message to the assignment desk at ESPN, which we've done before when we've gotten on there for Seton Hill baseball catches in center field.
3 times, by the way, I believe, right?
3. Yeah, well, this is our 4th time total, but 3 catches 3 years in a row for Seton Hill baseball. And then our old pal, who still does some work for us, even though he lives in West Virginia, Dave Oliverio, texts me on Saturday morning and says, hey, I just saw your the play by the Mount Pleasant kid on SportsCenter Top 10, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is great. So I was messaging with Jared a little bit more, and people were messaging him, and it's just really cool to see, man. I mean, I feel bad for Yak a little bit. Some of those guys took some shots at the defense, especially the You Got Mossed segment. But it's all in good fun, and it was more about
motivation.
What's that?
Some motivation, maybe for
Coach Hopper. That's right. Some good motivation. But it was more about the catch and highlighting Jarrett and Mount Pleasant and the catch itself than anything else. So that was really cool. That was really cool.
And by the way, I don't want to steal your thunder here, Flick, but
please,
if you don't say it, I'll say it. This is what's so awesome about the opportunity for us to broadcast these games, and why everyone associated with these football programs should be hoping that we do games like that, is because we get the opportunity to spotlight these players. And then I cannot imagine what that feels like to be Jarrett Garn right now, right? I mean, that's possible, one, because he did all the heavy lifting, he made the play, but the fact that we were able to capture it and then pass it along to the right people, that's a great thing about what we do. And why, if you're a football player, you should be hoping that we're broadcasting your games.
And I mentioned Matt Palumbo. If it wasn't for Lorenzo Cota, we would not have seen anything. He ran the camera that night for the game, so shout out to Lorenzo for getting a nice shot of it. And you're right. I mean, this is something that Jarrett's going to have forever. He was featured nationally on ESPN twice in one weekend. I mean, seriously, that's something you tell your kids. And really, it makes us proud, like you mentioned, Sean, to be there and be able to capture something like that. That's why we do what we do.